We are taking music or songs that we used to sing as children, music that was sang for celebrations, funerals, and now it's being recorded in studio.
I've always wondered what is the role or influence of politics um, on music and the creation of music. And you know how creativity works.
Of
You
course.
know, you can't
fact,
really
Don't box
it
me.
exactly.
Yeah.
But Brenda Fassie just pushed through. It's almost like she had in mind an unjust law is no law at all. Right now we've got the internet. A lot of these artists that are thriving, I don't even know of, or I didn't know of.
You're showing your age, my friend. A real 1K here.
Yeah.
With the internet, one can argue that you have all of this access.
Yeah.
Why are you crying about your music being played on the radio?
Every time I listen to Free by Boom Shag,
Oh, yes. Oh.
somehow, someway,
Someday, I'll find a place
Where
where
true
true
love
love is.
So here we are.
We're
Well,
finally doing this.
yeah,
This
and
is crazy.
it's actually unbelievable.
Jeez, we spoke about this for a minute.
And we were supposed to do a promo,
Yeah.
and the promo never happened.
Well, people can expect some images, some cool images.
Okay.
We're sitting on a kusheshe, so I'm not letting
Yes.
off too much about what
Yes.
happened in the promo shoot.
Yeah, that was yesterday,
That-
actually.
that was yesterday. And actually, it was quite cool. Josie has been rainy and all, and yesterday just graced us with good weather.
Absolutely.
Wonderful day to talk about music.
So I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I'm also a bit nervous because these are the private conversations that we'd have.
Yeah.
And here we are now publicly having the conversations.
Exactly. We don't want to step on any toes.
No.
No record labels that are going to get shamed. No music shows are going to get bombed. But we are going to share experiences about how we see music.
And I think it's very important to maybe explain how we got here. This would be the promo because we talk a lot about music and concerts. In fact, I realized that on this day last year, we're shooting this on the 30th of November 2025. But last year we were at Zamajobe's.
Oh,
Do you remember
what?
Zamajobe's
Yeah.
launch of her brand new
Jeez,
album
yes.
Umi?
Oh, brilliant album. With every listen, I was listening to it just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
My Apple Wrapped is going to look very weird. Umi is a brilliant album, and after a while, Samajobe just wowed us.
Yeah.
At the beautiful studio in
No, we were at Gold Reef City.
Gold Reef City.
Yes.
It is a
and then
wonderful little.
It was a very intimate venue.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll play it. We'll pop it up on the screen.
Sure.
So, because she was celebrating 20 years of Ndawoyami
Yeah.
at the same time launching her brand new project.
Yep.
But I'm saying we find ourselves here, particularly because we always at the same concerts.
Concerts.
Then we have conversations about
Yeah.
award shows,
Yeah.
albums, you name it.
Sure.
So that's the broader context.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
So welcome to the Music Club, as it
That's the
were.
official name of this podcast.
Yes, and why music?
I mean, it's a reflection of our realities, our ideals, and looking at history. It's creativity. Also, what are two lawyers doing talking about music and creativity?
But isn't just that the thing that music doesn't care about whether you're a lawyer,
Yeah.
doesn't care whether you are the man on the street. It sort of transcends a lot and boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think it's just unparalleled in the sense that it is an ocean. There's so much to explore in music. And I think we actually just scratching the surface because a lot of us only know the recorded music,
Yeah.
the music that's maybe popularized.
Yes.
But music is broader than that.
It is, and what I like about what is happening in the landscape of South African music is that we are taking music or songs that we used to sing as children, music that was sang for celebrations, funerals, and now it's being recorded in studio. And we're saving that art for the future because a lot of music that is at home is not being archived properly.
Yes.
And we'll touch on history a bit, particularly the uncomfortable history of South Africa and how music has played such a huge role, which is, the politics of popular music in South Africa.
Well, maybe let's just go right into it
Let's jump
because
straight into
it's a fascinating topic in my mind, at least, because I've always wondered what is the role or influence of politics um, on music and the creation of music,
Yep.
particularly maybe the content and the environment within which musicians find themselves. Is there a link? Is there a connection?
Yeah.
Are we making this up? I think
Yeah.
there is.
Of course, there is. I mean, if you think of songs like My Black President, there's no denying that Brenda Fassie, in fact, when she recorded that, it was predating the release of Mandela. So you can imagine that it was way before Mandela was released, but she was already proclaiming that.
It was prophetic
It
because
was.
because and that's the thing about music. So it links the past, the present, and of course
And
the
the future.
How could she have imagined? I think that song came out in 1990. Nelson Mandela was released from prison 11 Feb 1990. You can
Yeah.
keep me honest.
Yep.
And then Brenda Fassie drops the song
Yes.
Black President.
Yep.
1994. What happens?
Mandela is released and he becomes the first
Right.
democratic president. I mean, she could not have imagined that she was going to have
Yes.
a black president then, but it was powerful that at the time she was also driving an atmosphere, driving a future, and perhaps music can be that way, can be prophetic. I mean, we manifest these days.
Yeah.
Surely we can use music as well to manifest.
I agree. But maybe let's go to the past.
The
So
history.
maybe South Africa. We
Yep.
start, maybe we'll begin in 1948 when the National Party came into
Yeah.
power. We've got the
What songs do you think were heard back then?
Bubblegum. Well, not 48.
Yeah.
Bubblegum was 80.
You sound like you, Masigela, right now. We will not get into that because a lot of what was said about music then, in
Yeah.
fact, bubblegum is a term that came up from Amabunu when they were saying this type of music that you guys are listening to is just bubblegum
It's
music.
frivolous, basically.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
Yeah.
But the system of apartheid was about separate development, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
Intentionally doing so, creating laws that separated people, and music was no exception.
I actually wrote down some of those laws. You're speaking about there were so many draconian pieces of
Right.
legislation. So indulge
go.
me. So there was the Population Registration Act of 1950 that was about race and categorizing us into different racial groups or categories. There was the Natives Laws Amendment Act of 1952, which is about the restriction on black people and the ability to live in urban areas. There was the Native Abolition of Passes and Coordination of Documents Act of 1952 that was all about dom passes.
Yes.
Bantu education. I mean,
That's a very popular one.
we know what happened in 1976.
Yep.
The Group Areas Act.
Also
we had
very popular. and-
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
then we had the Separate Public Amenities Act, the Terrorism Act, the Security Act. So you had all these pieces,
Yep.
and I mean, these are just some of them, pieces
Yeah.
of legislation. And I cannot imagine being a creative and trying to exist in that kind of environment.
Correct. You can imagine how many laws you've had to adhere to in order to remain creative.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of music was banned. I mean, music without anti-apartheid sentiment. I mean, what is that? Take into consideration
Yeah.
the 1,000 laws that you've mentioned. Music by adhering to tribal purity. It means if I was Zulu, I needed to sing in Zulu,
Zulu
but
songs.
also I can't step on too many toes that I can't mix. I can't speak in Afrikaans. I can't speak in English. I'm maintaining my Zulu culture and language,
Identity.
and that's it. Music without conservative content. Music that was conservatively content.
You know, actually, and so I don't know if you've read Bongani Madondo's "I'm Not Your Weekend" special. It's just a collection of essays, predominantly around
Not yet.
the life and times of Brenda Fassie. And it was such a difficult space. Just from reading the book, I imagined how tough it must have been. And you know how creativity works.
Of
You know,
course.
you can't
fact,
really
Don't box
it.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Brenda Fassie just pushed through. It's almost like she had in mind an unjust law is no law at all.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
take into consideration her rebel attitude, which was
Yes.
great at the time, but dangerous for her because
100%.
a lot of musicians were then banned. They were sent into exile.
Yeah.
Yuri Makeba is a notable icon.
Yes.
Brayu Masikela.
Yes. Letambulu also was in exile.
Correct.
Kaifa Semenya.
Bra Abdullah Ibrahim, okay, the famous poet, and Datemzwa Kembuli.
Yeah,
So a lot of
people's
them were
poet.
sent to exile just because of the
The
songs.
content.
Exactly.
So that content was anti-establishment, But and it just goes to show how political music is. I always laugh when people say I'm not interested in politics, but politics
It's part
just
of
all
the
is all
fabric,
of
all
society.
encompassing, right?
It's the spine.
It
It's
is.
like the thing that hinges the door.
Yeah.
Because politics decided where you and I were born.
Yeah.
Politics decided the opportunities that we had, the access to, I don't know, now we've got access to the mainstream economy.
Do you think it influenced as well, and I'm sorry to jump in there, how we listen to music now?
Of course, because remember the SABC had a monopoly
Yeah.
on
What type of music?
content,
Yes.
basically what people could get, radio and television.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have it somewhere in my notes as I was doing my research
Yeah.
that they actually had the ability to classify. Yeah, there we go. I said the SABC had a monopoly on radio and TV. Music had to fit into strict classifications, and it was around, those identities. Okay, this is Zulu music, this is Xhosa music.
Yep.
And they did that through choral music and traditional music. Remember those choral songs that we'd hear on radio?
Really, guys.
So black people were not allowed to hear, or at least they weren't exposed to like popular
Yes,
music and pop
yes.
culture.
Yeah.
And then the bubblegum era came,
Yeah.
which was a thing, but as you rightly said, it was just seen as just this frivolous
Yes,
thing.
yes.
But what some of the artists would do creatively is they would embed the political messages.
Content.
So Chico Twala's We Miss You Manelo.
Oh,
That's We Miss You
yes.
Mandela.
Correct,
so that just
correct.
to bypass this
Yeah,
classification thing.
Jeez. And thank goodness to radio stations like Radio Bop. I mean, remember there was Bop TV and Radio Bop,
Bophuthatswana.
which was quite big because it forced its way to creating space for artists and played a lot of versatile music. Where the SABC, as we mentioned, was quite strict. I mean, they were also. I mean, it's a state-owned entity.
Yeah.
You'd imagine that the laws would come from Parliament and it would be influenced by how they play music.
Yeah. That must have been a really tough time. So actually linked to Brenda Fassie's book, I read also Mara Lowe's.
Oh,
It's
nice.
Me Mara. You know, she's a musician.
yes,
People
she
know
is.
her, I think, a lot for her acting.
On
Oskhefi.
Muvhango,
Oskhefi.
Oskhefi,
But
Edward's
she,
mother.
yes, but she also talks about how difficult it was. Can you imagine if you needed to travel as a musician? And I mean, who decides on whether you get a passport or not? It's the state. So
Correct.
if you are marked like perhaps Miriam Makeba, they'll literally revoke your passport.
Yep.
and you can't
Any
move
connection
around.
to your mum Miriam's Bri Hughes, you had this dot. You had literally had a scarlet letter. You can't perform anywhere. You can't sing anywhere. And perhaps I wonder if Mum Miriam being exiled and her being able to sing in different languages as well sent a message to the South African government at the time. I mean, she sang in Portuguese, French,
A luta continua.
Mashkanada.
Mashkenada.
Exactly. For me, that's like, again, her creativity would have been limited had she
Yes.
been in the country. I'm
Yes.
not saying the apartheid government was good for sending her out, but I'm glad that she was also able to use her talents, still sending the message about music.
It's
wherever she
almost,
was.
in fact, what I'm hearing is almost like, we always think of our lives as a collection of the good things that happen to us. But I guess what you see, what I'm hearing is even the bad things or the terrible things that happen actually add up to making you who you are and the success.
Creatives will always remain creatives.
Yes.
You try to block them from, expressing their art. They'll always find ways of,
Getting the music out.
Exactly. I like that.
Get the music out of you.
Part of the politics conversation is around, gatekeeping, payola, corporate influence, record labels.
So and I guess that perhaps was a thing of that time because right now we've got the internet. A lot of these artists that are thriving, I don't even know of, or I didn't know of.
You're showing your age, my friend. A real 1K here.
Yeah,
Who
Maria
has
1K.
TikTok? I don't.
No, but I promise, I'll kid you not. So the very first time I heard of Kamompela, it was just online. People were just going on about Kamompela.
What does she do?
Who's Kamompela, guys?
Shout out
Because-
Kamompela. Shout
Because
out to you.
remember, in my time and your time,
Yeah.
the way to get, you had to appear on a music show on a Friday,
Yes.
which was either Techniques,
Techniques.
Heart of the Beat, or Studio
Studio
Mix,
Mix.
or Live,
Yeah.
or One, whatever they were called, or Club
Also,
808.
there are no music
shows anymore. So you appear on the music show, you get a feature on the Drum magazine. You've got a drum mag
Shout
here.
out Drum Magazine. I also need a cup.
Yeah.
Send your boy a cup.
Yeah, so you appear on the Drum magazine. Shwashi writes about you on the Sunday World.
wow,
You appear
yes.
on Selima Tunzi, Dosto and Brown. Open your fridge.
Yes.
Do you know? Then you've entrenched yourself
Yeah.
as okay.
The musician
Yeah,
who has
maybe I'm exaggerating, but truth is your music will get played on radio as
Sure.
well. And there's one radio station in particular, I won't say which one, on the street, on the air. But a lot of musicians would debut there. I learned of Zoe Mudicha from that station, Mposibina.
Yes.
But that's how you were launched. So
Yeah.
now the internet just, I mean, I don't want to say it's separating us, but people are operating in silos. So you could have an entire ecosystem that knows of Gamompela, but the rest of us wouldn't.
don't know.
So then that brings me back to the question of Biola and gatekeepers.
Yes.
Is that still a relevant thing in this day and age?
Look, it's relevant in the sense that we are not having conversations as creatives, as artists. There's a certain radio station that is currently under heat, and a music compiler who was accepting some gratuity for compiling and forcing music to be played. With the internet, one can argue that you have all of this access.
Yeah.
Why are you crying about your music being played on the radio?
Yeah.
I mean, cars still operate with radio. Radio is
Who's still? Oh, cars.
cars still
right.
still have radio, because a lot of argument is that who listens to radio these days?
No, absolutely. As long as we have to get into cars, I agree. You have to switch on the radio. Because, I mean, what else do you do? And I think in South Africa, certainly there's not an entrenched culture of listening to podcasts. South Africans, I find, are quite visual. So they would want to watch you on the YouTube, for instance.
Yeah. Look, you're watching on TV or you're listening to the radio.
Yes.
You can either see or imagine that voice. And again, music played an entire big role in that.
It did.
In between the news, the talk shows, there is music. There is a music show. Definitely, sending the creative expression art. Let's talk about Kwaito.
Yes, that's exactly where I wanted to
Let's
go.
talk
How did
about
you know?
Kwaito.
So, wait,
I
remember,
jumped into that because we were thinking music. I'm like, what's a genre that speaks about this particular topic?
Yes, it was definitely quieter because I think as bubblegum was phased out, and I don't think it was a deliberate thing, it was just a natural progression.
Yeah.
Bubblegum was coming out, Quieter was coming in, and
Yep.
Quieter was a youth movement, it was a
Yes.
thing. And when I think Quieter, I just think Duma Silela, I think Boom Shaka.
Yes.
That was the time.
And I think at the time when you think about it, it was a culture for youth to express themselves post-apartheid. Think about I know I'm butchering the lyrics.
Maria Pepa.
Maria Pepa.
Yes.
Because it's again, a brilliant song about an expression, post-apartheid, going to seek out better opportunities, making money, whatever.
But wait, just pause there. I think let's double down on that, or let's zoom in there.
Sure.
Can you just imagine? You've had the system of oppression since what, 1948, when the National Party came into power. You've had two states of emergency, a state of emergency in the 80s. Then you've got this glimmer of hope. Okay, Nelson Mandela's released. Now you've got this
The black president.
but you've got the first democratic elections in the country. Can you imagine the euphoria? How elated people must have been.
Yeah.
So, and I think that came through in the music because when I look back, I'm like, these people were just partying a lot in the 90s.
I mean, that's the image that we were given, is that they were this reckless nation or generation, didn't care much about their future, but we heard about it in the music.
Yes.
That excitement, that hope
Yes.
was covered in the music. There's a song.
It's about time you listen to Boom Shaka.
Wow, we love Boom Shaka.
Which one?
By Your African Dream.
Oh, Vicky Sampson.
Vicky Sampson. You know that song? Everybody to this day know about that song because it was such a song that carried so much hope at the time, and it was played a lot on. And thank goodness again, SABC turned around. Dropped all those laws.
And listen, for the sake of clarity, or for the avoidance of doubt, as lawyers would put in a contract, the SABC is no longer that today.
Yeah.
That was the SABC, that was the state broadcaster. Right now, the SABC is a public broadcaster with,
Correct.
you know, a public
Correct.
interest mandate.
Correct. What's a Kwaito song that speaks to you post apartheid? I know it's a difficult one.
There's so many. But every time I hear
One that you can sing.
first of all, I'm not a singer.
Sure.
But every time I listen to Free by Boomshag,
Oh yes. Oh.
somehow, somewhere,
Someday, I'll find a place where true love is. I'll be free from this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But every
I'm gonna
time-
challenge you.
Yeah.
I like Bambanani.
By
I know you.
Boomshag
You
as
know I
well.
love that song.
Yes.
And that's my song.
Why do you like it?
Sure. I mean, it's about unity. Again, that song, when you really listen to the words,
Yes.
it really just says, guys, come together.
Yes.
Stop killing each other.
Right. Stop the violence.
Stop the violence. But it's such a jovial song.
Yes.
Also, how crazy that as South Africans, we can make a sad song jovial, or we could be dancing to it. But when you really listen to the lyrics, you're like, man, this song there's a message here being
There is.
sent.
But you know what they say? They say when you're happy, you understand the beat. When you're sad,
Sad.
you understand the lyrics.
Ooh, one day we
Because-
must talk about how artists that are sad make great music.
Yes.
International artists in particular, you know, that girl from
Adele.
Britain. Yeah. When she was sad, she made great music.
But first of all, by the way, don't you love how Adele just comes out, releases an album, does a few shows, and then she disappears?
goes
It's
into
like,
hibernation.
It's like she doesn't exist
I mean,
anymore.
we hear that she's going to release soon, and I mean, we're segueing into a different topic.
Yeah.
But I hear that she's already writing
Material.
for a new album.
But for me, it boggles my mind how she successfully does this all the time.
Yeah.
She pops up, she says, oh, there's 19, does a couple of shows, wins awards.
Yes.
Then she packs up and goes.
Yeah.
And she goes.
Yeah. I think that's how she also probably expresses herself.
Yeah.
Whatever goes on in her life during that period, we'll know through music.
Yeah.
And I mean, Beyonce was great at that, and she still is. When you listen to Lemonade, what was going on in her marriage,
Yeah.
we didn't know anything about what was happening. The nitty gritty. When the album was released, it was like, whew, girl, you went through a lot.
Yeah.
Again, like South Africans, when we release our material to the world, they're like, whew, we go through, you guys
Yes.
go through a lot.
Maybe I think pain and hardship is a necessary ingredient.
I'm not manifesting this one for myself.
I'm just saying, like, it's part and parcel
It
of
is.
the process. Like, you can't be happy all the time.
I mean, sure, you gotta have both hands, you know,
yeah.
dealt.
So we've established that there is a definite connection between politics and music,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the environment within which artists exist in.
Yeah.
What do you think the space is now?
I mean,
Or
we
do you still
mentioned-
want to talk about Kwaito?
Sure. I mean, yes, we spoke about the genre of Kwaito and how it was the soundtrack of
The
democracy.
dawn of democracy.
You know, youth culture expressing themselves.
And hip hop, by the way, even though hip hop doesn't come from it,
Yes.
it was a youth thing. Reggae, I think these are genres that emerged from hardship
Quite
and suppression.
interesting. I have a list here of songs.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Train to Georgia, hip hop, Duk
Duke
Singanga.
Singanga. Wasn't he sued for that?
Sure.
Because I don't think he got clearance. That's a Gladys Knight song.
Ding! Drop that.
Oh.
Lady Marmalade, Scotta Camp.
Oh, yes. Yes.
By Petty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Miss Patty.
Miss Patty. Those are, other songs that I'm just like, whoo, these songs, hip hop artists always look at the history, always look at what music
That connection
exactly.
from the past to where we are to where we're going.
Yeah.
But I must, sorry, go ahead.
TKZ. It just popped up right now.
Very Kwaito, they
Hip-hop,
remind me of 1997
But also they were
as well.
talking about what's happening in the country.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
No, but I'm just wondering, like, where do you think we are now, like, musically?
Streaming.
Okay, yes, come on. That's the consumption mode. But like, okay, let me tell you what I think, and then maybe you can share what you think as well.
Sure.
I found that post-COVID, there was a going within. If you think about, and the one album that comes to mind is Zoe Mudira's Ngane Kwani.
Yes.
Firstly,
Brilliant album.
right? But then I think she firstly also took a risk by just dropping an album at a time where we did not know
Correct.
what our future looked like. Like life became very less predictable.
Yeah. But I'm glad as well that we had a lot of time to listen to music. A lot of music that was released in 2020 actually has quite a big foundation because what else could you do?
Right, you had nothing else
We
to
couldn't
do.
go to concerts.
But the music of that time, I think, is now very spiritual. It's about identity, where we're coming from. It's going inward. Like even the Amapiano songs that you'd listen to, I mean, they talk about
Kabza's
Nyabonga
latest album.
Idlozilam or something like
Yeah.
that. It's very. Is that the space that we're in now?
That is certainly the space that. Oh,
I'm
jeez.
asking you.
I mean, my word. Right now, and it's really reflection at this point. I mean, we went from looking at the history,
Yeah.
where we are now, but also it's a reflection of our identities. I mean, Sankofa is reflective.
That's Thandiswa Mazwai.
Tani Samazwai's new album.
Beautiful album.
Sabela, Uyabizwa, like,
Yo.
when she starts that album, you start on that first song,
Yeah.
you're already within. And listen, I'm a
No, but
closing kid, so music like that.
no, but she started that with Ibokwe, remember?
Oh,
Because after
yes.
Zabalaza is a very politically
Yes.
conscious
You
album.
see, now
and-
she's a
and then-
typical.
And then she
That's what-
evolved.
yeah.
And mind you, she started at Jackknife with
Wow, that's a big
yeah,
evolution,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. And I think she for me is a formidable artist because she
And a
has,
great example of what we're talking about, right?
you can have many eras.
Yes.
So then when they were talking about
Uyahamba.
so that was Kwaito. And then of course she had Bongo Muffin and then she went solo.
Amazing.
But then from Ibokwe onwards, I think it became reflective as well. Who am I? Where am I coming from?
Yes.
And now you're talking about Sankofa, which is also very brilliant. But
Yes.
and I find Sankofa to also be very Pan-African.
Yeah. I mean, again, probably when you consider what we spoke about how boxed artists were and what they could and could not say, right now she's able to really express herself.
Yeah.
And again, when a record label as well gives you a script on what you cannot sing about, it can limit your creativity. A lot of artists that are independent right now, I mean, they are releasing amazing work.
Can I just say something about that?
Sure.
It might just be controversial.
You just want to get us in trouble, and this is our first episode.
So many artists, particularly in South Africa, female artists
Yes.
would have been launched through a record label. And that's how they would get introduced to the
The
audience.
music industry.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, as is mostly the case, stuff happens
Yeah.
and they decide to go and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then their popularity sort of wanes.
Yes.
But it actually sounds like they're making self-indulgent music. I don't want to
Sure.
name names.
Okay. Okay.
It just becomes about them and what they want to express.
Yes. Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's not commercially viable.
Do you think it would have been better for them to stick around with the record labels if
listen.
they were frustrated about their creativity?
Listen, I'm a proponent for freedom. Get out of jail, do what you must.
Sure.
But I have observed that a lot
That
of
would ta-
artists have just disappeared, particularly because they are no longer part of that traditional
Sure.
record
I mean,
label
on the
structure.
other hand, when you consider the fact that there's a lot of financial backing from
Yes,
record labels,
yes.
to go, I mean, studio equipment is expensive. Then it's the concerts, the traveling, the actual the recording, as well as putting out that music.
You need, actually, speaking about how expensive it can get, yesterday, as I was driving around to
Sure.
just get shots for, the imaging of this podcast, I was exhausted. And I realized, a lot of the stuff needs a budget, particularly if you've got a
Correct.
wild imagination like I do.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have the budget for this. I don't have the manpower,
Yes.
the resources. It's just me and the
You
little
need an
camera.
entire staff to
Exactly.
be able to do a lot of the background work before you can even get to the to have this brilliant piece.
It takes a village.
Takes a village, and I guess when you think about why artists stop making music just because of that, is that for them it may not be commercially viable as well. And I mean, we spoke about where we are now. A lot of artists have been saying that it's not easy for them to make money off streams.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of streams.
You have
guys,
to be Taylor Swift.
You have to be Beyonce. You have to be Shut up, Tyler. I hope you're making your buck, girl.
We don't know. We can check.
I hope. Well, let's run the numbers in the background.
Yeah,
Let's run the numbers in the background. I'm hoping that she's really making money.
But
out of
but isn't that where the space is? I find that, if I were a musician,
Yep.
I would not release music, i.e., put it on the streams, because that's almost like your digital footprint. That's your
Yes.
marketing tool, as it
Yep.
were.
Yep.
You now have to go out to make the money, do all the live shows.
Yep.
Unfortunately, or maybe, well, let me be neutral on this. The people who are getting booked are the Amapiano artists.
Yeah, and I mean, look, shout out to Amapiano artists because they're also putting us on the global stages.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about, we mentioned the Gabzas, DJ Maporisas, those are the artists that have been nominated a lot of times on the global charts.
Okay, so then, look, I want to keep going back to this politics and
Sure.
music, politics
Yeah,
and
yeah.
music, because that's the purpose of this discussion.
Correct.
Politically,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot that's left to. I don't want to say it's left to the artists, or let me just say artists. The way I see it, artists, is that they reflect the times.
Yes.
Or a great artist is one that reflects where the consciousness of the people is at the time.
Yep.
I'm wondering though, who in your view is reflecting that right now, and where are we? I keep circling back to this. Where
Sure.
are we? Because I'm stuck in the 90s and the early 2000s. That's the content that I'm
Sure.
consuming mostly.
Sure.
Not to say there's nothing brilliant now,
Yeah.
but where are we now?
And I'm going to be biased because, again, Thandiswa is a great example of that. I mean, when you think of Biko Speaks, that song, and how she uses the stories and the archives from the parliament conversations, she's really expressing that. And for people that probably don't listen or watch parliamentary TV, she was like, I'm going to give it to you in music, but also let's make it fun.
Point of order.
Hear what point of order,
Yeah,
comrade.
point of
You're
order.
going to hear what's happening in that space. I mean, who else is talking about?
Didn't Simpiwe Dana release? She did Bantu Biko, One Love Movement on Bantu Biko
brilliant,
Street.
brilliant. I mean,
was-
she has always spoken really and criticized the government, but in a good way, because we talk in our corners. Artists are brave. You're putting out material against the government and for the people.
A fragile government, by the way. Remember, governments can be fragile. They don't like it when you hold a mirror to them,
Yes.
because then they don't like what they see.
Yeah.
So when
Do you
an
think
artist,
that influences the funding that artists get from government?
what funding?
What funding? Department Arts and Culture come through.
I'm the people's minister.
We are
of Arts
going
and
to
Culture.
invite you to the hot seat. We need to hear about this funding because a lot of artists, they die poor. We always have to gather our 2 cents nyana there when they die, and it's quite sad.
I remember, so Sundays in my household was a day to just indulge in the Sunday papers.
Yeah.
Start with
Sunday
Sunday Sun,
yeah.
or all the way to Sunday Times.
To City Press.
Yeah, City Press, then Sunday World. And I remember, I think Kabzela was it not Kabzela? Zombo had passed away.
Yeah.
And I always had aspirations of being in the creative space.
When
And
you read that.
no, my mother was like, is this what you want?
Yeah.
We're not going to be reading about how, you
Yes.
died a pauper, etc. But I think a lot of it is structural. Firstly, I think it's multi-layered.
Sure.
There's a lot that can be said about artists and the way.
Radio airplay, streaming, us buying music.
I think it's just structural. The way the whole thing is set up, you're bound to end up like, Zombo, for instance.
Yesterday you went to a vinyl store.
Yes.
Tell me about your experience of seeing physical copies of music.
It was so exciting.
And that's what used to get artists money in their pocket, right?
Yes.
The politics, again, of what we spoke about, those structures, the record labels, the financial backing, ends up in music, the physical copying, being able to buy that physical copy.
But now, because
I mean, how many South African artists did you see?
I saw quite a few. I saw Thandiswa Mazwai, a lot of the jazz musicians.
Sure.
But but not. Oh, I saw Tyler there. Is Tyler South
Of-
African? I mean, she is South African, but
She is.
she's been exported to
Of
the
course.
US or
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
But I saw quite a few, not a lot. A lot of the vinyls that I saw were like rock bands and
A lot of international artists, US artists.
correct.
And that speaks to the politics. You mentioned that it's multi-layered.
Mm.
That's exactly it. I think we must also hold, yes, we're holding artists accountable, record labels accountable, but also those stores. Because if they're not stocking enough music to sell, we don't buy.
Maybe they're gonna say it's not the supply is not there.
True.
So they're gonna say. So remember, I don't know if you remember when Zonke released her latest album, Embo.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last year? No, the year before.
Yeah.
She did a whole "I'm gonna do this the old school way."
Yeah.
And there were massive delays there.
Yes.
And the communication, because I ordered the thing online,
Sure.
the communication was there's one supplier, it's an old man in
Yeah.
his backyard.
Yeah.
He's actually printing these CDs or like cutting these CDs.
Yes.
And now he has to go and distribute. And I think they were using these courier companies.
Just like how artists used to sell their cassettes and CDs at the back of the car
Yes.
and make money.
So, but the question then is where you're going to play it? Because if you look at modern cars, there's no CD player.
True.
And
That
how many
is
people?
actually limiting.
So
Frustrates me.
the truth is the consumption patterns have changed,
Sure.
and the way you and me consume music.
Yeah.
I quite like having all my music here in like on
Apple
one
and
device
Spotify.
exactly, and then I can just play
Sure.
everything. It's a massive library.
Yes.
I think we just need to solve for compensating musicians and the people who produce the music.
Correct.
I
Correct.
think that's what needs to happen now.
Yeah. You spoke about few musicians, South African musicians that have physical copies of music.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out to them too, that because I saw a vinyl that was released just a couple of days ago. Guys, let's buy music. I'm
Yeah.
buying vinyls. And people think I'm old school and I'm buying physical copies, but at least that money goes to the artist.
Yes. And I mean, not to plug, but there's a platform. I won't mention it. Starts with a B. If you know,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Apparently, that money goes directly to the artists.
Oh,
So
nice.
you actually, because I don't know if you've observed some of these digital platforms. You'd be enjoying an album tomorrow. Sorry, 3 songs are no longer available
longer
in your
available.
region.
That
You're like,
frustrates me.
What?
Male's album needs to also be plugged back
Make it
in.
come
I don't
back.
know what's happening in the background because her first 2 albums are not on any digital platforms. I have to resort to listening to my own CDs or playing music videos on YouTube. Talking about music videos, I mean, a lot of
That's
music
also
that was pre-apartheid was you could see, you could see in the pictures and the videos that were captured at the time and how music videos were made. Then it's post-apartheid, you'll see like we're dancing, we're jovial, we're excited. Yes, there's a lot of injustices and socio-economic pressures. Now there are less music videos.
But I mean, look, is it MTV that's
Yeah.
shutting down?
Yeah.
So I think times have changed again. So I think, first of all, music videos were an art form.
Yeah.
Excuse me. When Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson
Yeah.
dropped music, it was an event.
It was a movie.
It was an event.
You know
as
how
in-
long it took to shoot Thriller?
but you would get promos on television.
Yes.
It was an event. So I think that's also just slowly fading. But I'm not sure why, because YouTube is still there as a viable means to consume
Exactly.
such content.
And again, it could be used well as a marketing tool. When you see a great music video, you want to then delve into that artist's catalog. I mean, I recently discovered Olivia Dean.
Yes,
Through
everyone's
her
talking,
music video.
everyone's talking about Olivia Dean.
She's amazing.
I listened to the one album.
And that's the Grammy-nominated album.
No, this recent one. I forget the name.
Okay.
I forget because I didn't even know about her. I'll tell you now.
Just like Olivia Dean, Ray, Dua...
The Art of Loving. That's what it's
Ah,
called.
yes. See these new 2K artists, I've discovered them through music videos. One day my YouTube decided, we're going to jig this algorithm. You're listening to a lot of old music.
Yeah.
I have an old soul, so obviously
Yeah.
a lot of my music is like old soul. So R&B and soul music that I play usually on Sundays somehow just segued into the 1K music. And I started listening to that type of music. I'm like, okay, shout out. And again, algorithms, the background, the politics dictate and they dictated what music I'm listening to.
That's my other fear as well, because then you might be in a little echo chamber. Exactly. So, I mean, you and I would share playlists.
Yeah.
Because we enjoy the same music.
And expanding our
exactly.
ears,
So
right?
I'm also part of another group, so I was just invited to this play, and we all just add songs, and then we all just listen to what everybody else is listening to. But that was the purpose of radio, because radio would not play the music that I like, and then I'd be introduced to new artists.
Listening sessions again. I think we should have those reintroduced. We used to have those, an artist will just a jam session. An artist will play new music and all of that, and you are introduced to that artist or new artists. Open mic.
They're going to tell you it costs money, and then
that
again,
is true.
Back to politics. It's the economic crisis right now globally.
Gotta make money.
What do they call it now? The cost of living crisis. So everyone's just fighting for survival. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that's a great place to park it, unless you want to talk about anything else.
No, I think we've really drawn a picture of the politics of popular music in the country.
And I think music. So someone said music carries the weight or the brunt of entertainment. I mean, can you think about a movie without a soundtrack, or an advert without a song?
One day we'll talk about how, we'll list our top 10 soundtrack movies, or these what do you call that, musicals. I know Wicked is it Wicked? It was released.
I don't know.
Cynthia Erivo's.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yes, they released a music. It's a musical, and she goes everywhere and sings. And maybe we'll also talk about that.
Happiness. I mean, this is only the beginning.
It is.
So thank you. Thanks very much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
We spoke about a lot.
And like I said in the beginning, I think music is uncharted waters. It's unparalleled in terms of what you can find. So we're only just scratching the surface.
I go through every month. I'll do a review of how long I've listened to music. I think I listened to 300,000 minutes.
Oh, really? Yeah, same here.
That's crazy.
Wait, I think because Apple Music gives you all those stats, Replay and Spotify as well. So,
jeez, we have a lot. It means I go through a lot of music.
But can you imagine a day? A day.
Already, I'm itching to listen to a playlist right now. I'm I have days. So on a Friday, I listen to something that's going to get me up. It's close to the weekend and all of that. Saturday, I need something that's going to just slow me down, slow tempo, old house. I mean, I'm an old school, old house music. Soul Candy, shout out.
House music.
We keep releasing those compilations.
We haven't spoken about house music, but we'll probably speak about it next time. Okay, cool. So you're off. By the time this airs, you'll probably be in the States. So I'll see. I'm quite enjoying this, and I really want to ride the momentum.
Sure.
So yeah,
I'll miss you guys on the next episodes. I mean, I'll see you when I come back.
Okay, cool.
But,
Thanks for watching. Nice. This is the very first episode of, what do we call it? The Music Club.
From me, Mokoni.
And me, Kgothatso KG Mamba, the People's Minister of Arts and Culture.
And the maestro himself. This is good.
Okay, bye.